What's up, Mr. President? How you feeling, man?
Feeling pretty mediocre. How are you?
Good morning.
As you make your way along the
Rise and shine with the WVON Morning Show.
Wake up, wake up, wake up.
Featuring Maze Jackson.
Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?
The WVON Morning Show. Wake up!
Take a moment, y'all. Share the broadcast. Share the broadcast. Wake! What? Wake up, Chicago. Wake up, world. This is the WVON Morning Show. I'm your host, Maze Jackson. Got my co-host, Todd Stroger. And we are all back in the building after a Memorial Day weekend. Todd, how you feeling this morning?
Oh, I'm feeling all right. How are you?
You know what, Todd? I'm feeling a
You look
little...
great.
Well, thank you. I
I like
appreciate
your
that.
brown.
Thank you very much. I feel a little melancholy this morning. I am going to say that for Memorial Day weekend, it was truly a weekend of memorials. We found ourselves celebrating our very own Insane Wayne. His memorial service was this weekend. I'm sorry that I was not here, but I'm going to tell you that so many of so many of you were out, and that musical celebration was something to behold. Let me just say that it was definitely something to behold. Then I found out that my dear friend Howard I was about to say Howard Morgan. Howard Moore, former coach at UIC,
Oh, you knew Howard. I know Howard Moore.
as well as coach at University of Wisconsin. His family, his wife and his daughter were killed in a tragic car accident. I was awakened by a phone call by my big bro Donnie Kirksey, who was in tears as he was reporting that the fatality that we had seen on the news, but nobody knew exactly what it was that of Coach Howard Moore. For those of you that don't know, Coach Moore was he was here from Illinois, went to play college basketball at University of Wisconsin, came back here to coach at UIC, and then was up at Wisconsin. Todd, you're one of your alma maters.
Yeah.
You got your Wisconsin shirt on today. I want to send a big shout out to the University of Wisconsin family and to the family of Coach Howard Moore. You know, it's actually super personal because Coach Moore is the person who actually, him and Donnie Kirksey, while they were at UIC, were the first people to introduce my son to basketball. And so his lifelong passion, he learned to play initially on the hoops at UIC, so that lost. And then to only find out yesterday as I was settling in to eat my barbecue that one of your own fraternity brothers, Eddie Jones,
Eddie. Yes.
passed away.
Yeah.
And
Eddie was a stalwart. He didn't live very far. He lived in the 8th Ward. Eddie was the type of guy who did everything. He did everything with the fraternity. He had many roles. He did things with the ward. He helped Don Trotter. He helped L.G. Sims. He was the block club president. If there was a task, Eddie was like, "Give me a hat. I want to wear it."
Yes, Eddie was the top flight security of the world. He made sure that everybody was straight. So to find out that he passed away was sad. And then I'm looking across the table, and I am saying that you have the the obituary for Emmett Vaughn,
That's it's the second funeral I went to on Saturday.
And what was the first one?
Wayne's.
Oh, it was Wayne. Look, y'all, it was Memorial Day weekend. Let's remember the people and give them their flowers while they are here. Man, we got to get our health taken care of. We got to get on top of that. It's just so much going on. So with that in mind, let me start by saying good morning to the WVON family. What's up to everybody? What's up to Annette Flournoy in the newsroom? Annette, how you feeling this morning?
It was so touching and so fitting for him. So many great speakers, and the music was fantastic, and his eulogy was great. And just us coming together as a WVON family was very supportive, and it was comforting. And when I looked at Coach Moore's death, when I saw that happen, it just struck me because to lose family members like that, he lost a wife and a daughter. It just brought it back to me where, remember that duck boat accident where that woman in Missouri lost 9 members of her family?
Yeah, that was crazy.
Just crazy. So, our hearts go out to him, and it's just it was a weekend of memorial, and of course of all the men and women in service.
And all of the men and women in service, and make sure that we remember our role in Memorial Day. You know, a lot of people forget that it was the black people who went back to lay memorials for the people that died in the Civil War, black former slaves who went back. So let's not forget that as well. Hey, okay, so that is Annette Flournoy. I already said what's up to Todd. Gotta say what's up to the Wonder Twins. Wonder Twins, how y'all feeling this morning? Oh, well, y'all sound kind of muffled, but that's good to know. I'm like, hey, anybody out there? I feel good. You know what y'all sound? Y'all feel like I
Had a long
sound.
weekend, huh?
You said I feel. You know what? I'm gonna do my favorite Alderman Burnett pronunciation. I feel so good. I'm so excited. You know, he has absolutely no expression. That's how they were like. You know how Deputy Dog Droopy. I feel so good. Well, let me tell y'all what. I am happy to be back in the pilot's seat. So let's do this. We are going to get this plane to 50,000 feet, and we are going to leave our cares and worries behind. And we're going to get our tails up in this air, 50,000 feet. Sonya, let's get this thing up. Soul plane up in the air. Todd, let's get it going. It is the WVON Morning Show. I'm your host, Maze Jackson, Todd Stroger. We are about to get this thing cracking. So we have already given our memorials to Alpheus Ewayne Fields. Eddie, for those of you that don't know, it is Eddie. I want to talk to you.
Eddie!
What?
I want to talk to you!
That's no volume. That's your headphones.
Oh no, I can hear you. Well, I can't hear you anymore.
Okay. All right. Well, it is the WVON Morning Show. So that is, you all, if you listen on the WVON.
That was us working.
Yes. But if you listen to us on the morning show, and you hear, those of you particularly who watch on Facebook or YouTube Live, you hear me always say, Eddie, when I wake up and I say hello to everybody, I say, Eddie, I want to talk to you. That is Eddie Jones. So one big shout, Eddie, I want to talk to you. That is for everybody down in Springfield. To shout out to LG Sims, Stanley Moore, everybody over who in the 8th Ward, because that ain't the 8th Ward office, it's across the street from the 8th Ward office
Right.
that Eddie used to be at. LG Sims, you know what, all of those. And to LG, who had to go break down the door. You know, these people passing behind these doors and people having to break them down. Brian's, good Lord. Come on, y'all. All right, check this out. Hey, y'all, what did you all do for Memorial Day weekend? Todd, what did you do for Memorial Day weekend since you had a 5-day weekend?
And
Cause
I went to the bathroom, rolled around in the bed a lot. It went by slowly, but I just watched through the windows.
You watched through the windows. All right, well, look, when we come back, I'll tell you a little bit about what I did. I got out of here. I went down to Houston, and y'all, I just need to tell y'all. They talk a lot of smack about, I mean, Houston's a nice place, but I just need to say, this thing about the turkey leg hut, I gotta talk about y'all, because Houston, y'all talk all this, everybody talk about it's about to be the next big city, whatever, and then we get down there, only thing black people want to talk about is the turkey leg hut. We're gonna talk about the turkey leg hut when we come back. It's Talk Chicago City.
More of the morning show with Maze Jackson coming up.
You know, Emmett was an alpha man too. Not surprising, I guess.
Huh?
Emmett was an alpha man. Not surprising. Yeah, it was a terrible weekend for young men. I think everybody was somewhere in their early 60s, I guess. Of course, I'm not sure how old Wayne was. Maybe mid-60s. But either way, they all were young. It's like May said, I gotta take care of ourselves. I'm going to the doctor in 2 weeks or something like that.
Wake up, everybody!
Gotta get my colonoscopy. That's a separate thing.
Wake up! Everybody.
If you haven't had your prostate exam, have it. Have it. A lot of men.
Many men. That comes in pretty crisp. I like that one better. We're on Facebook Live now. On the TV. On the tube.
Figure this out, huh?
On the boombox, man. Everything is irie.
I don't know anything about that. That's my sister's thing.
What?
She used to go to Jamaica all the time.
Jamaica, boy. I love Jamaica. Everything in Jamaica's irie, man. All right, did I say what's up to everybody? What's up, y'all? What up, Alvin Norton? What up, Will Martin? What up, James Matthews Jr.? What up, Will Martin? What up, Ian J. Leverson? What up, Tiger Lily? What up, Sean Lett? What up, Kimberly Patton? What up, Denise Russell? What up, Brandy Dyes? What up, Bueller McLeod? What up, Jonathan Swain? Big weekend for you, Jonathan Swain. Big weekend, big weekend. I'm gonna be drinking in the middle of the street, y'all. On Saturday. Drinking. What up, Bueller? Shout out to everybody who had the Peace Fest, even though I ain't get no invite. What's up with that? What up, Clifton Pierce? What up, Val Free? What up, Alicia Benford? Juan Rangel? What up, dog? How come I can't see the...
Your comment information is sent to both of you all's emails.
Thank you.
Coming. Coming. How come I can't see the...
I'll be loving you always. Always.
Oh. You are tuned in to Talk Chicago 1690 AM. I'm your host, Maze Jackson. Got my co-host, Todd Stroger. And Todd, let me tell you what, man.
What?
I am back. So my Memorial Day weekend, you said you spent a lot of time looking out, just looking out of the window. You know what?
Watching the asphalt
Roll. Keeping your head above water. Okay, well, Todd, you know what? When I got out of here, I was running out of here. And I used to do I used to do the OJ, but you can't really say that no more. But I was running out of here.
Jumping over suitcases.
I shot out of here, went to Midway, and then I got to Midway Airport and I jumped on a plane. And guess where I went, Todd? I went to Houston.
Oh, you went to the second. Is it the second city?
No.
Third?
Nope. We're still third. I don't know if you saw it, barely. We're holding on to third right now. Barely. By the next time they do one of those reports, they'll probably be three. But so can I tell you, I like Houston. Like I had history with Houston. Because I used to do a lot of work back there back in the day with Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey and Disney on Ice and all that stuff. So I got, and it was there. I used to do stuff at the old, what was it, the Summit? What was the Houston arena where the Rockets played?
The Summit. Yeah.
So it used to be the Summit till Joe Osteen bought it. So I was there doing work, to do some work there. And so I went back and, they got the Breakfast Club. And Houston is like, billed as one of the thriving locations for black people.
Next time you gotta let me know so you can meet my man Rodney Ellis.
Oh, your man Rodney Ellis. You know who I saw? Whose house I saw?
Okay.
You know your boy Boris. What's Boris? The Alpha. That's the state. He's not a state senator. I can't think of his name, but he crazy with the big mustache and the bald head, and he be shooting people in the house. Anyway. So Todd, I get to Houston, my man. And so, I touched down, and, we call ourselves, we stay at the Hotel Zaza. Let me just tell you all, if you all are looking for a banger of a hotel, and this is not paid, check out the Hotel Zaza. I never heard of it before, but let me tell you.
Is it like one of those hipster places in Vegas or something?
No, it was really cool because you know how the rooms are always awesome. It was like nice rooms. They got balconies, great pool. I almost felt like I was at a resort. It was a sweet boutique hotel. I'm gonna tell you, it was great. The service was great, and it was like black people hanging out. And, I kept waiting. It's like a luxury hotel, and I was waiting for them to do the black thing to me, and it never happened.
Ask you if you had your room key.
Yeah, let me see your room key. It's like, look, man, they came, gave us the VIP, the whole thing. Anyway, so Todd, when I get to town, you tired to ask people what's cracking, what's going on. I promise you, everywhere I went, somebody black was telling me about the daggone turkey leg hut. I went to the barbershop. You gotta go to the turkey leg hut. I went to the restaurant. Oh, you gotta go to the turkey leg hut. Talk to my friends. Oh, you gotta go to the turkey leg hut. So Todd, I gotta go to the turkey leg hut. I gotta go. I hate turkey, but I gotta go see what it is.
I like turkey. I love turkey.
Okay.
I don't like turkey leg.
Okay, well, the turkey leg hut.
They got breasts?
You know what the turkey leg hut is?
I like breasts.
No, they just got turkey leg.
Oh, man.
Well, I heard they got other food, but nobody was waiting in that line. But this is why Chicago people go to Houston. Because this is a Chicago dude who took the turkey leg concept that we have here, grilled turkey leg, and then said, I got me a bunch of sweet marks down here. Let me put a little seasoning on this. Let me add a little flavor to these turkey legs. And I'm going to have these fools lined. Do you know these people's lined up down the block around the corner for a turkey leg with some sauce on it?
You know that when the Taste of Chicago comes, the turkey leg is the big seller.
Well, I'm going to tell you what. He went down there and started him a hustle. And it is a brother from Chicago that got every Houstonian lined up waiting for a turkey leg with some sprinkle sauce on it. I'm just telling you. And then when you pull up, I thought I was going to see a palace. You know what it reminded me of? Like if the jerk taco man went down, you know how the jerk taco, remember the first time you heard about jerk taco man and you go over on Pulaski and that line down the block 3, and then you kind of be like, okay, it's cool because it give you a lot, but then all of a sudden you kind of be like, wait a minute. Well, anyway, I'm just saying, I now know why so many black people are going down to Houston. Because it is some marks down there. Some sweet lick. It's a sweet lick. This that's like when you go, like, you look around, you be like, oh, we could set up shop here. Like, I felt like if I went to Houston, I could set up shop. Whatever my hustle was, my Chicago hustle would take over. But yeah, we had a great time. Shout out to, I went to visit, I stayed with my, actually, we went to go visit my nephew Matthew is graduating, from 8th grade. So, man, and let me just tell you, that black and brown thing in Houston, woo-wee, something else. I was, I felt like a long-tailed cat in a room full of rocking chairs. Because I didn't know what I could say. Because I got to the barbershop, and, I got to talk about what's in it for the black people. Shout out to Louis Good and the guys over at the barbershop. Let me tell you, though, I started talking about the black and brown stuff from Chicago perspective. They got a whole different perspective down there. Well, I'm going to tell you what. I did not, it got real quiet in the barbershop by the time I left. That's all I got to say.
Uh-oh, you said too much, huh?
No, that's all right. I'm going to leave. I'm going to say what I got to say wherever I got to go. How about, do you see, how about the tornadoes yesterday? Tornado out. This is Chicago was almost the victim of. I don't even think you could have tornadoes in the city.
They've had tornadoes before.
In Chicago, though.
Yeah, in the city.
Wow. Well, there were yesterday in Tinley Park. It was looking crazy. It was like monsoon season. Did you see they are looking to pass a law to stop you make it a misdemeanor for reporting black people for existing while being black?
Oh, I kind of like that one.
Yeah, I do too. Until somebody is existing on your front porch, right? It's existing
different.
when somebody's existing in your. Excuse me.
But if they're barbecuing on your porch, then you could probably call the police.
Okay, you're right. That's a good one. All right. Shout out to Kristen McQuarrie. You know what? Kristen McQuarrie and I fell out over one of her editorials one time. It was actually my biggest response to her when she said Chicago needs another Katrina. I was like, dang, really? You want to just kill? But since then,
Yeah, because you know what happened with Katrina?
What?
All the black people had to leave New Orleans.
Right.
And they couldn't come back.
Well, you know what? It seems like,
But you know, that's white privilege.
I'm going to tell you.
White people say things that they don't understand all the time.
Well, I'm going to tell you what I think. I think that there was a Katrina. We just didn't know it. All you gotta see is all the black people that be leaving. They just did. She said it out loud. Rom did it in person. He didn't say nothing. He was like, I'm a Katrina y'all though.
Without water.
Right. Well, he Katrina us without water. But you know, she gave a big shout out. She was talking about local radio in Chicago in the editorial today of the Chicago Tribune, in which she mentioned this morning show as a place that she must tune in to find out which politicians are being skewered, or as she said, she loves to have us plopping politicians on the griddle. I was like, I like that metaphor.
She's not one of my favorites.
You know what, Todd? I don't know if you got any press favorites, but I'm telling you, man, you are making a comeback. Cause I'm telling you, everywhere I go now, and I talk to these people who are not like your friends, they're like, Todd is such an awesome addition to your show. I'll be like, I bet you didn't say that. I'm gonna have to go look back on all your papers. I'm gonna tell you, we're gonna get everybody in the hot seat. And Todd, you know, cause you know, sometimes when you talk to people, you be reminded them like you ain't forgot. I noticed that.
I try not to forget anything.
But the question is, do you forgive? Look, y'all, it's the WVON morning show. When we come back, we're going to talk about Mayor Lightfoot's first Memorial Day weekend. Do you think Mayor Lightfoot was adequately prepared to handle Chicago violence? The reason I asked is because she said she was shocked at all of the emails that she got about the number of shootings. And I'm like, where you been at? This is Talk Chicago 1690. We'll be back after traffic and the weather, some news too.
Well, that's because when you're not in the top seat, you don't have to pay attention to that stuff. You can spend the weekend, you know, barbecuing, eating, going on vacation. I bet you they were somewhere else during the
Right.
usually. Yeah. This is a totally different world when everything comes back to your desk. That's why I would say the mayor's got too much on their desk in order to it doesn't matter. I don't see how it can be healthy for the city for everything to kind of go through one person. Not that I don't like the mayor. I actually think she's a different sort. And you always need something different as time goes on. There's only so much one person can do before it's time for them to move on. Some people need to move on fast than others, but you know, you get what you get. They do what they do.
I don't say, Lord.
We do what we do, and we don't do it that fast.
No, he didn't, cause y'all.
Yeah, we could use
Lollipops, lollipops, oh black lollipops, lollipops. Lollipops, lollipops, oh black lollipops, lollipops.
I gotta tone the maze down a little bit.
Lollipops, lollipops, oh black lollipops, lolly.
You gotta have people. People won't come on if they think you're gonna ask them something that's gonna make them look foolish.
I'm not calming down. I'm gonna do what I do. Now, here's the deal. We've been doing this, and it's like it's not. They should.
Change is inevitable in every person.
I'm telling you like this though. We
There
don't
was a
ask
time
people.
when I was really dumb.
And I'm gonna say
Now I'm
that.
just a little.
But I don't think. I think that no one is asked. I think that people would like to have that impression, but I would think that I think that what people like to do is create a crazy maze narrative until they sit their ass in a chair. Now, if I have someone, I think even if you go back to the Kwame Raoul interview, that was not me. It's what people do is they get themselves so amped up and so prepared to be in a combative mode that they don't recognize a lot of times that by the time they get here, I'm not in a beef with them. Or I want them
I
to
didn't
give.
hear the whole. I missed part of the beginning, but I will say by the time I turned it on, that Kwame was he was. Well, I guess ramped up is a good word.
Well, I'm saying he came in. This is not
He
shade.
was energized.
I'm saying that people come into like. So this is what I'm not accepting anymore, and I'm just telling you, I'm not accepting it. I'm not accepting the whole concept that Maze is crazy or that the shit that I talk about is crazy. And it's like, what the problem is people don't, it's not that people don't want to look silly. It's like people realize that they do look silly coming here talking about how they've been fighting, saying all this fluffy stuff, and we have no actual outcomes. And so what people want to do is they want to come here and be pacified. No, I'm going to ask you. So if you have been a legislator or an elected official for 20 years, and I say, what's in it for the black people? That shouldn't even be a trick. You should be able to say, ba-boom, 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 ba-boom. What they would like to do, and here's what has happened, is that black folks used to be like, he not credible, he not credible, he not credible. And then white folks was like, he's pretty credible. He's pretty saying. Now, the game, now, it's Maze Jackson. Well, actually, and if I was so incredible, then you got to ask yourself, why would Toni Preckwinkle, who was in the downing days of her campaign, feel the need to come on this morning show that she's avoided for 2 years? The thing with Kwame was, and this is no shade, I'm not trying to bring that back up, but the thing, I had planned to screw Kwame. I really did. And then I was like, man, I'm trying to become eventually a professional interviewer, and here's another opportunity for me to demonstrate that regardless of how I feel about you personally, I can conduct an interview that was fair. But by the time he was like, even on the immigration question, come on, man, y'all know me. You know I'm going to be like, I'm not for the immigration question, or I'm going to have a certain opinion on it, and I'm not going to just go for the fluff. What they want you to do is say, okay, I'm going to say this, and you're going to agree, and if you don't agree, then you're crazy. No, I need you to explain it. I need you to break it down for me. And I think where our credibility comes is not letting people just come on and say whatever. Like, that's been the problem for the last 40 years. People come in and say, oh, I am fighting to save the social service safety net. Thank you very much. So what do white people do? Right? Like, you cannot ignore the outcomes in our community over the last 20 to 30 years. We don't have a lot of wins to show for it. And until people start saying like, dang, until it clicks that everywhere you go, people are going to ask you, what the hell have you done besides just showing up? Nah, you're not royalty in our community no more. You get treated like royalty when you give gold to the people. You ain't gave nothing. I'm not changing. And I think I have calmed down now. Not screaming though. But I'm always going to be this. I might have a better way to get to the point. And I think that comes with maturity.
Yes.
You do look silly if you come on here and you can't answer the question. What?
It's like, it's just letting everybody else know.
Oh.
I don't know how you did.
I think you keep showing up on TV in places where they think you credible. Oh, man. You are tuned in to Talk Chicago 1690 AM. I'm your host, Maze Jackson. Got my co-host, Todd Stroger in the building. Todd? It's that time, man. It's time for the social media question of the day.
Hooray!
And I'm gonna tell you, I've been looking forward to this. Well, I was looking forward to this. So let me back up. Did y'all check it out? I had a pretty busy TV weekend. I was on Fox 32, Flannery Fired Up. I do feel kind of like a regular over there, sort of.
Well, you are.
You know, like I feel like they be like, "Hey, Mace, would you come in?" I'd be like, "Yep." And then after the ratings, let me stop. So then I was also on 26 on channel 26 with George Blaze. So check those out if you have not seen them. But Todd, one of the things that people were like at Flannery Fired Up, they were like, rank her first week in office, Mayor Lightfoot, and I was like, dang, shoot, she got sworn in on Monday. It is now Thursday. Has she? It's like, has she failed? Is she over? Is she?
I think she didn't sit in her chair well.
And I was like, man, I wasn't exactly sure. So I was just like, look, y'all, it's the first week. What are your possible expectations? Give us some time.
No, you should have said it's her first 2 days. She hasn't had 2 days yet. It was only 1 day.
I think by the time it aired, it was Sunday, so I would have had to, give her a couple days. There's some of the magic of TV.
Magic of TV.
The
Love
magic
it.
of TV. But Todd, prior to taking office, Mayor Lightfoot told us that part of her lasting legacy would be solving the violence issue here in Chicago. Now, leading up to Memorial Day, she held press conferences letting us know that she would flood the zone. So no issue. So we noticed that there were no flood the zone. Flood the zone to me, first of all, meant exactly part of what I thought it was, which was they was gonna make sure that nothing happened downtown. I think the zone is downtown. I think we've discovered what the zone is. So there was no incidents downtown, but we had 36 shootings. 36 shootings, 5 fatal. Now I'm gonna tell you, in my mind, I never count the fatalities. I count the shootings, right? Because the shooting was intended to kill you, right? So
Yeah,
the person,
nobody's trying to shoot you in the leg.
right? Nobody's. So I say that if everybody had their druthers, 36 people would have been dead at a minimum.
Right.
Okay? Which, Todd, when you compare it to 2017, there were 52 shootings. 2016, there were 71.
Holy crap.
In 2015, there were 57. But in 2014, there were 34. Now, last year, there were 36 shootings. So actually, she held steady. 36 shootings on Memorial Day weekend last year, 36 shootings this weekend. But one of the things that I noticed was, well, first of all, with only 2 days, 4 days in office, can she count that? Or was that successful policing strategy that happened? Was that a success? Right? Because last year we had 36. The year before that, though, it was 71. And then the year before that was 52. Right? So we've seen sort of a downward spiral downward trend over the last 2 years. But one of the things that caught me, and Mayor Lightfoot was everywhere this weekend. You turn on the TV, people was taking pictures with her all over the city, particularly in the black areas, right? South and west sides. I saw pictures of Mayor Lightfoot everywhere. But one of the things that she said, which was so caught me off guard, was she said that she was shocked by the number of emails and alerts that she got over the weekend over the number of shootings. Now, that was with only 36.
Yeah.
Todd, so it got me asking the social media question of the day. Do you think Mayor Lightfoot was adequately prepared to handle Chicago violence? And I'm going to say that I don't know if she gets credit for the 36 shootings, because I think that somebody had probably put a plan in place already on top of it. But the fact that she was shocked by the emails makes me wonder, do you think she was prepared for the level of violence in Chicago? And maybe sometimes when I think you hit it earlier, because she probably really has never had to confront it.
Yeah, no. She probably is like a lot of people. You know, they're celebrating their own thing, going out of town. You know, it's not like she didn't have or doesn't have money. You know, people with money tend to take the long holidays and try to get away from everybody else and do something different. So she might not even been around the situation. But I think the plan, whatever the plan was, had probably been in place already. It's not like the superintendent changed or anything like that. They knew this day was coming, and they've been planning for it probably since last Memorial Day.
Okay, well, I see, and I think that. Do you think that Memorial Day is like a bellwether? Like, do they look at Memorial Day to say, okay, this is how it's gonna be like? But look, let's go to some audio so we can hear what Mayor Lightfoot had to say about the violence this weekend.
I have actually been on the scene of many shootings over the years. I used to be the head of OPS and probably responded to 80 plus shootings, but it's never easy. It's never easy to think about a life being lost senselessly. I have actually been on the scene of
So, how does she handle this now? See, I feel like a lot of people have been critical of the police. Was she critical of the outcomes? Because I'm sure last year nobody was cool. Are we giving the 36? Is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? Social media question of the day. Was Mayor Lightfoot adequately prepared to handle Chicago violence? 36 shootings this weekend. 36 last year, this same weekend. The year before, 71. Was that something that Mayor Lightfoot did? Is Eddie Johnson actually working? Although we don't see it because we don't talk about it? Give us a call, 312-374-8130. Let me go to the phone lines. Brother Ball, you on the Talk Chicago, 1690. Brother Ball.
Morning, Graham.
Hello?
42 years older, brother. I'm a Gemini King.
Uh-oh. You a Gemini? Uh-oh. You crazy too, man.
No, man. You know, we come from different cloths. That's all. Still polyester. But, you know, what you talking about, man, is something I always like to bring up when I talk about people that are put in places that they don't belong. There's no way you can take a job like Mayor of Chicago and you don't pay attention to murders, right? Anytime that it's a holiday weekend and the weather is nice, the murders spike. The only reason that we got lucky this year is because it was my birthday and everybody chilled out and they came to my gathering. And secondly, the weather. We had so much rain. Statistics show in Chicago when it's raining and snowing, the weather, you know, people don't shoot too much. You know what I'm saying? So I think we caught a break, but statistic-wise, this lady is not prepared. She could have did small Google searches. You did a small search and found out some stats that's doubled just from 2 years ago. So we know the 4th of July. What does she think about the 4th of July? You see what I'm saying?
Oh, Brother Ball, see?
Hey, you know, man, you know, she ain't got the right people in her corner, man. Get on your job, Todd.
Brother Ball, thank you. You know what? I'm going to say this, right? And I'm going to put this out here. I don't know. First of all, Brother Ball nailed it. He nailed it. Y'all know that the rain and think about this. It was a tornado yesterday.
Yeah, at least one.
Right? So you know that rain and that cold. See, we haven't seen the heat yet. We have not seen the heat, and I'm just saying that.
He is absolutely correct. Until he said, I forgot how much it has rained, so people haven't been out.
And so, y'all, that was a weather break. I am concerned, though, that we don't know. I don't know if she says she was shocked at the number of emails. What happens when it's a 71 weekend shooting? Y'all, it's the Talk of Chicago 1690. Was Mayor Lightfoot adequately prepared for Chicago violence, or was an act of God that saved her? We'll talk about it when we come back. 312-374-8130. Give us a call.
More of the morning show with Lacey.
Dang, Brother Ball just took all the air out the balloon. Right? Like,
He did. Yeah.
He just killed the whole thing.
Yeah, now it makes me wonder what the heck happened last Memorial Day.
Right. We need to see the weather. Can
Yes.
we get the weather report from last Memorial Day?
Yeah, we need to call Tom Skillen or somebody and find out what the heck happened last year. Now that he said that, it has been rainy and miserable every other
It never
day.
rains in Southern California.
But it sure rains here. So, yeah, I didn't even think about it.
Damn.
Because I got up this morning, or yesterday morning, and I looked outside, maybe about 8:30, I remember it was sunny. And I was like, ooh, what a nice day. And then somewhere around 10 o'clock, it was cloudy. Next thing I know, it's raining. And then all I hear, alerts, tornado alert in Cook County, in Will County, in Lake County. Yeah, and that was most of the day. I remember thinking, man, there can't be anybody out there in this weather. If they are, they're crazy. Yep, that would keep the shootings down. But we'll know. We'll try to find out what the weather was like last year. You should probably be able to figure that out too. Rainy season, but the world has changed for Chicago, so I guess I'm not surprised. We complain every year now about how it's been raining more and summer starts later. So I bet you that has something to do with the number of shootings. You know, it's always more than one thing. You just gotta search for it and figure it out. But I'm not saying the police may not have some kind of ideas of what's going on. But as we well know, when people want to shoot somebody, they will figure out a way. I'm pretty sure I saw some kids driving down the street, standing out of the sunroof with a gun. So they just do what they do. And I know the police go talk to these shooters. They talk to people who get shot. They talk to people who shoot. And those guys are like, well, you know, we know that you might get shot one day. You're on our list. And we'd like you to cooperate. And those guys close the door right in their face. So this is, shootings are nothing. But 36 is still a lot to shoot. I haven't seen all the stories, but you wonder out of those 36, how many people were just innocent bystanders? That's what I've always wondered about. It's not like somebody comes and walks up to you and pulls a gun and shoots you. They're usually running somewhere or doing something crazy like that. Please go away. My girl's found another way.
7.
Life is filled with gloom, but day after day, I stand locked up in my room. I know to you, it might sound strange, but I wish it would
rain.
Oh, so badly, I wanna go outside. Such a lovely day. One knows that a man ain't supposed to cry. Listen, I got to cry, 'cause crying eases the pain, oh yeah. So I feel inside, words could never explain.
I wish it would rain. Oh, it would rain.
Rain, rain, rain. Ooh, let it rain.
You are tuned in to Talk Chicago 1690 AM. I'm your host, Maze Jackson. That voice singing in the background, that is my guy, Todd.
Hey, that was
Stroker.
on a long song. Put that on my long song tape.
You had a long song tape?
Oh no, that was when I was alone.
He said a tape too, y'all. Well, it is the social media question of the day. I am asking, was Mayor Lightfoot adequately prepared for the Chicago violence this weekend? She said she was shocked at the number of emails that she received regarding the shootings this weekend. But you know, Todd, I think sometimes it's different being able to critique I think it's different being able to critique the person in the leader's seat as compared to being the person in the leader's seat. And I think that one of Mayor Lightfoot's real issues is going to be police. There's the violence issue in a dual state, right? So you got the police violence issue, where it is the actual crime in the community issue,
Right.
as well as the police violence issue, where there is a lack of trust between the police and the community. And now, as compared to being the stone thrower, the critiquer, the pointer outer of all the problems, now what Mayor Lightfoot is going to find is that she is now supposed to be part of the solution. And now it's not just they didn't do it, it's what did you do?
Right.
What's your role? What did you do to fix the violence? And the emails come to her. And I'm just going to tell you that I think that it's a lot different sitting in the seat than it is throwing rocks at the seat.
Aha! I think your good buddy, Pat Quinn, found that out, huh?
Pat Quinn found that. But how's that my good buddy?
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's not my good buddy. I told you. I said I learned about white liberal racism at the highest levels in the Pat Quinn
Your
campaign.
teacher, he gave you a true lesson on what they really
Exactly.
do.
Let's go to the phone lines. Let's go to was Mayor Light? No, let me say was, because this is an ongoing. Is Mayor Lightfoot adequately prepared to handle the violence in Chicago? Now, again, remember, do you think her approach is going to come from a North Side mentality, like a Scott Wackerspack mentality,
What is
where?
that?
Well, look, kind of like those people over there. Like, what are they doing? Right? Because when it doesn't impact, right? When it doesn't impact you, you look at it like them as compared to us.
Yeah, well.
And I think we need an us thought process. But I'm gonna talk about that too, because I think we need to talk about the how that all plays out. Let's go to the phone lines. Mama D, you on Top Chicago 1690.
Hey, good morning, good guys.
Good morning, Mama D.
I was wondering how many emails did Daley in his 20-plus years or Emmanuel in his 8-plus years get? Lori Watson, she had a plan, she had officers, and she personally walked in the hotspot neighborhood. None of them ever did that. I think we're trying to hold her to a different standard and expecting her to walk on water and do miracles. And it's like you said. She said she could not do it alone. So what did we do? But if you really want to stop the violence, we're going to have to start in the home with the first teacher, who is the mother that gives birth to males as well as females. And they are being terrorized in their homes because they took the moral authority away from parents. And that's what we're dealing now. And when that's repealed, and you can start loving your children into shape instead of whooping them into shape, and have respect for life and respect for your mama that brought you into this world, then we'll do something. Thanks for taking my call.
Thank you, Mama D.
Yeah, I think Mama D's right. I even know kids who call DCF on their parents.
Hey man, my parents used to be like, you look, this is what first of all, my parents would be like, you call somebody, you see if you can make it to the phone. Now, I told my kids you could call, I used to tell my kids, you call DCFS if you want to, they taking you, not me. You gotta leave.
Right.
I'm not going nowhere.
You gotta pay for this house.
Right. You're gonna have to go stay with some crazy people. And then you're gonna find out what's crazy. But see, the challenge that I think now that Mayor Lightfoot is going to have is that she is going to own the violence. She now is the wholly owned subsidiary. And now I'm curious to see how will black people respond. Because this is what's gonna happen, y'all. White folks gonna put the ball in your court. You got the black mayor, you got the solutions. And so I just want to be clear. Do we think we're prepared adequately to handle it? Let's go to Frank. Frank, you on Talk Chicago.
Good morning, Brother Mayor.
Good morning, Brother Frank.
Good morning.
Great question. And my answer to that is, yes, she was mentally prepared to handle the violence in Chicago. She didn't just come to Chicago yesterday. She's been in Chicago all those previous years that you mentioned. But strategically, she was not prepared because she just got in the office. She only had time to implement nothing but more police officers. And as we see, that's not the answer, okay? She was on other shows this weekend, and she talked to us, and we gave up advice, and she loved mine. If she implemented, did it come down to zero? I wonder how many of those places where the shooter took care of, where the homeowners had a home video surveillance system. And lastly, Mays, and by the time WVON listeners suffered a serious death, a serious loss this Memorial weekend. And that's when we was informed yesterday that our sister A. Muhammad's show was leaving the air. That was our last broadcast. Now, I don't want to say this right here. I hope it had nothing to do whatsoever with the attack on Minister Louis Farrakhan recently by the Jewish community. If it does, then we are in trouble.
We'll talk about it more when we come back. It's Talk Chicago 1690.
The Talk of Chicago.
I was not aware. But
No,
so let me back up. I don't think that any one person, I don't think that the violence solution is going to be a mayoral solution. And I mean, I think the mayor can help set it up. I think the problem with basing everything around the violence is that you don't get to the root causes. I'm gonna also say that I think that when I looked at the press conferences, it was the same old niggas. Same preachers, same, like, you pulled out the mayor and you put in, like, it was the same press conference with the same thing, but then you put a new mayor in the spot. I wonder, has she expanded outside of the traditional loop? Will she go back to the same people? Right? Will we see the reemergence of, for instance, will the solution to black issues come from the BLC again? Right? Like, where is she going to get her black advice? I think T.O. is a good person to consult. Right? But I think you got to figure out the credibility issues. I think it's a lot of people that could participate, but again, I don't know who's her black scout. Who's the black person that says, you better get to talking to these black people, because they ain't been keeping their word already. Go ahead.
I think she was trying to tell the BLC that they need to be more hands-on. You know, there's such a gap in wealth between, like, the BLC and your average Joe, and then your average Joe who's not middle class.
How much time we got?
I mean, that's a huge gap. But this, you know, it's such a tough thing because it's become a real. It's not even a battleground. It's like we're in two different worlds.
Did you all miss time?
It's like we're well, maybe we're in three different worlds, and the you know, the people who are in the world where it's like one of those movies where, you know, you're fighting to survive, or there's violence around you, and, you know, it's hard for you to do anything because there's people shooting people and crime, and, you know, you're not supposed to say anything about it, and you're supposed to just accept it. There's crime all around you all the time. You know, that's a hard life. And how do you get out of it? You know, before, we were more attached through things. Probably, I'm guessing, our attachment came mostly through church. And there was a message, and everybody came to the message. Everybody didn't agree with the message or pay attention to the message, but everybody got a message, and everything was centered around the church for the community. And, you know, and it wasn't all this traveling around. You didn't get in your car and travel 6 miles to go to church. So it was more community based, and that helps. It helps when you know each other. I mean, like, our fraternity, Alpha Phi Alpha, we've had go to high school program since, I don't remember, I think it was the 40s. Then it became a go to high school, go to college program. And we still are out there trying to mentor young kids in grammar school, and I'm pretty sure that all the other fraternities and sororities are doing the same. But man, I mean, I see people all the time, and they don't feel any connection with the rest of us. When I say the rest of us, I mean people who have a 9-to-5 job that pays them enough to make sure that they can do all the basic needs, pay the rent, eat, help their kids with whatever, go on a vacation for a week or two. Yeah, they think we are totally different, separate species. How do we get them to connect with us, trust, and how do we work on them to show them how you survive in this world without violence, without the law trying to chase you down all the time? Nothing worse than the criminal justice system that takes away everything you got, takes everybody else's money to pay for you to sit in some spot and do nothing but maybe get terrorized or terrorize somebody else in a building for 5 years. I mean, what kind of sense does that make? When you can be productive, be out doing things. It's crazy. We spend a ton of money for this. Got to get people more involved. But even more involved, got to get people with some trust. You got to trust each other, man. Man, I not only need to go to the doctor, I need to get an exercise regime.
Don't take me, don't take me. Wow, now that you're gone, I would adore you. I would adore you. Say, 'cause I'm too lonely on my phones. We love you. I'm begging you to make me your love. You are tuned in to Talk Chicago 1690 AM. I'm your host, Maze Jackson. You know what?
Maze,
Yes.
who do you think wrote that song?
Dionne Warwick or something like that.
Oh man, that's almost right.
What?
Dionne Warwick sang the song. She was a songbird for who?
What's that dude's name? I can't think of it. Go ahead.
Burt Bacharach and Hal David.
Oh, okay. See, I don't know.
You're getting closer, man.
See, man, I thought that you know what? I think the original was sampled in the song. that I liked and which made me do it. But you know what? Speaking of that, did you hear about Dionne Warwick talking about Beyonce has not reached iconic status yet?
That's just a little hating.
I was gonna say Dionne Warwick, because first of all, Dionne Warwick, if Beyonce ain't iconic status, then Dionne Warwick definitely is not.
No, you don't know nothing about Dionne Warwick.
Huh?
You don't know nothing about Dionne Warwick.
I know this. She ain't no Beyonce. How about that?
Well,
I tell you what.
On the other hand, Beyonce's no Dionne Warwick, so.
I agree. She's not. Thank God. I bet we won't catch Dionne Warwick late. I bet we won't catch Beyonce late night hawking what psychic services. That's not iconic at all. Stop it. And I'm still mad at Dionne Warwick because of her sister, abusing Whitney Houston. Don't get it twisted. I know a lot about Dionne Warwick. I saw the movie.
Oh, I didn't see the movie.
Oh, well, you guys see the movie. You'll look at Dionne Warwick a completely different way if you saw the movie. All right.
I know she was a diva for sure.
No. She was a little bit more than a diva. She was an empowerer. She was an accomplice. No. She helped Whitney get, that. Let me stop.
Whitney had her own problems.
Yeah, but they originated with Dionne's sister. Dionne's sister was the don't sleep over cousin who liked women and little ones at that. Let's not get okay. Did you see the movie? Dionne wasn't talking. Dionne better keep her mouth shut.
Probably did.
Right. That's why we all over here like Dionne better keep her mouth shut and get back to psychic predictions or whatever she doing. Look, y'all, I see all y'all calls. I'm gonna talk about them because I think all this stuff rolls together. So I will get to your calls. Hang on. But I do want to talk about something that happened yesterday in the news, political. Yesterday, Democrats around the state were patting themselves on the back as they passed the Illinois Fair Tax Amendment. Basically, what they have done is they have passed a law that will essentially, they're calling it the fair tax, because what they are saying is it will allow the rich people who make over $250,000 a year, which I don't know how in the heck $250,000 a year makes you rich, but it will now say that people who make over $250,000 a year will now be able to be taxed at a higher rate in a graduated income tax. Now, in Illinois, we have a constitutional amendment that says that that we have a flat tax, which means everybody pays, what was it, Todd, 3%? Was it 3% of their income?
I think it is 3.5%, something like that.
3.5% of your income flat tax, everybody, rich, poor, no matter what. Well, this is essentially establishing tax brackets in which they will say that rich people will pay more. But Todd, here's my question on this so-called fair tax, and to take a page out of my girl Tamiko's book, fair tax for who? Because I am telling you right now, basically what this law does is it allows the state legislators to be able to tax us now at will at a state level. Now, Todd, it sounds good on its face that rich people are going to pay more. But you know what I always know about rich people? They have lobbyists. And essentially, this changing this amendment takes away the protection for everybody. It doesn't just take it away for rich people. It's just this year they're going to tax rich people. But again, Todd, if you're only taxing the top 1%, but you need bazillions of dollars, how long before that top 1% becomes the top 5%? How long does it before that top 5% becomes the top 20%? How long does it then become we've got to spread this pain out across the whole entire state? And essentially, we wind up all paying more taxes because this fair tax that they're putting in front of us as we're going to tax the rich, we're going to tax the millionaires, essentially means that the cap to tax everybody is removed constitutionally. Did I get that right?
I don't know. You may know more about this than I do. So you are stating that in the Constitution it says you can only do so much?
Right. There's a flat tax established by the Constitution.
Right.
So everybody pays the same. There is no tax brackets. What J.B. Pritzker is proposing with this graduated income tax sounds really good, because it's like that whole thing about all of the you know how right now it's bad to be rich in this country. Like the socialists be like, oh, you're rich, you pig, you take everything. So now, yes.
I don't go for that kind of crap.
Oh.
It's never bad to be rich.
I agree, but they sell us on this bad to be rich.
I have seen rich people complain because they lost everything, which basically meant they had to sell the house in Malibu.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, the house in Malibu as they go to take the helicopter to their new house,
Right.
to their same house that they live in.
So I never cry tears for rich people.
But that's how they.
Are you saying that under the progressive tax, they will say at some point things will change and they will say it's
Yes.
not the 5%, we're going to make it the top 20%.
Yes, because essentially what this constitutional amendment does is it takes the cap off, right? So right now they're saying we're doing this because we want to make the rich people pay more.
It doesn't necessarily take a cap off, because the flat tax could be 40% of your income.
Okay, well, this is what I know. What I know is that once they pass this, it now has to go to the voters, to the people, right? So we have to vote, was it 3/5 to make it a constitutional amendment,
Yes,
to change
3/5.
it. So what they're going to do now is run these crazy ad campaigns telling us that we need to tax the rich people. We need to tax the rich people. We need to tax the rich people. Now, 3.5% is what everybody can pay.
Wait a minute. So what you're suggesting, or maybe you're alluding to, is that maybe that the top rate can never be more than 10% of the population.
Right. And so what happens?
That's what your suggestion should be then.
Well, what I'm saying is, right now they're trying to tell us that the tax is only for the 1% this year.
But you're saying that if this made any sense, it would never move past a certain percentage of the population. So you're saying right now it only affects 1% of the population.
That's what they're selling us, but it removes the cap for the whole entire population.
So I guess maybe this is more of a question. So would you be more in line if it never went past like 3% of the population?
Yeah, I mean, if that's what they were selling, I don't think that we should take the flat tax off. I think it should stay where it is. And I think, because I don't ever know when they can tax more, they figure out a way to tax more. They never figure out a solution. So this is what they're going to do. They're going to say, this year, we're only taxing the top 1%. And everybody will be like, yeah, those dang on 1%ers. Then they're going to be like, next year, in 2 years, well, you know what? This wasn't enough. So we're going to tax the top 10%. And all the 90% will be like, yeah, tax them. And then because again, now at this point, they can tax anybody. Right now, when they do this, I don't know if there is any protection. I want to know from the Black Caucus, what is the protection in this to protect black people who are not in the top 1% 5 years from now, from your tax increase? Because you need more money, because the wealthy 1% says, we got to spread this out across everybody. See, it's the bait and switch. They sell you today for that next year, for 5 years from now, then they can hit you back and say, remember that time? Well, y'all said y'all wanted to get taxed more. We're being set up right now. And I want to know, what did the Black Caucus bring for us? Now, that's JB's first big win. And you saw him standing up next to Will Guzzardi and the white liberals, and they was all crying. And I was asking myself, didn't we see something on WTTW that said that JB Pritzker keeps how much money offshore? Why don't you bring the money out? Tell all the rich people to bring the money that they hide in tax shelters in the Bahamas and the Cayman Islands, bring that back, tax that first. And then after you tax that, come to me and tell me about, see, because all they're going to do is push more money out of the country, and we going to wind up paying more. I'm not crazy. I know I'm not crazy. Now, y'all, that was the first big win. Look, they're selling that as the first big win coming out of Springfield, right? The next 3 things coming up: cannabis, casino gaming and sports betting, and Capitol bill. Yeah, I got a question. What's in it for the black people? Coming out of this Springfield legislative session, they will have legislated the wealth for future generations to come. What is in it for the black people coming out of this session that ends in 4 days, that will change our community? Because they are about to change the lives and the wealth status for people all over the state for generations to come. Illinois Legislative Black Caucus, it's time to show up and put up. We want to hear from you. We'll talk about it when we come back.
Of the morning show,
Think about it. So, JB, do you think he has, what's tax on $1 billion? What's tax on $1 billion at 3%? 3 million? 330 million?
30 million sounds right.
Okay, so $30 million, just him is across the sea. But he telling you gotta put up more. I'm just saying, y'all, we're gonna buy into all of this stuff. They're gonna sell you on all of these things, and ain't nobody. What did black people get out of that progressive tax increase? What did y'all leverage from it? So for your vote, Black Caucus, what is our trade-off? And if you bring me to BLC, talk about the same niggas getting rich again, now, you got cannabis about to pass. Billions. You got gaming and sports betting. FanDuel. What's all the rich white who billions. Capital bill. What are the big capital projects that are coming to the black community? They're gonna tell you, oh yeah, we're gonna give you a gym. These fools finna rebuild whole cities. And I'm just saying, what have we heard from the Black Caucus? What? They're going to come back to us and tell us what we got instead of telling us what they're going to get. And then tell us we should be happy with that? Yeah, it's 4 days left. Todd, I'm saying, look, it's 4 days left. And they talking about a casino, legalizing cannabis, and a capital bill.
Wait a minute. Haven't you discussed this before and brought to light, at least to me, one of the main problems with what happens in Springfield, and that is these big bills like the casino and the cannabis bill. All this talk is done somewhere in a room with a whole bunch of people that black people aren't involved in. And then once they decide what they want to do, they come out and they say, okay, we're going to do this, and what do you want out of it? So basically, once everything is decided upon, they come and ask you, what kind of cut do you want out of it? So you're not there as they're baking the cake. So you're not really involved in the eggs, and you're just there to get a sliver of what is baked at the end, if you can get that sliver. Am I right?
Yes.
Yes. So there's our problem. How do we get in the room? How do we force ourselves in the room? How do we make sure that nothing is done unless there's a chef in there who looks like us too?
You are tuned in to Talk Chicago 1690 AM. I'm your host, Maze Jackson. Got my co-host, Todd Stroger, in the building. Todd, you know, I watched yesterday as legislators congratulated themselves on passing the Illinois Fair Tax Amendment, which will go to the voters. on the next ballot whether we will pay more taxes or whether we will support a graduated income tax. Now, graduated income tax right now is being told to us that it will only affect the top 1%. But y'all know how, I use the phrase, give a Negro a rope and he want to be a cowboy, right? And so essentially, once they have taken the barrier away from not taxing everybody, there's no way that the rich people lose. Rich people, first of all, going to pay taxes and they're going to pay lawyers to figure out how to beat the taxes. But then on top of that, they're going to pay lobbyists to say, hold on, can't you see, this pain wasn't created by the top 1%, and we need to spread it across the whole state. Now, that was yesterday we saw, as I saw black legislators posting and clapping and patting themselves on the back. We did it. We passed the Fair Tax Amendment, and now we're going to hold these rich people accountable. Could you please tell me one time we've seen rich people in Illinois held accountable? Like, when?
Illinois, you name another place.
Okay, so
like you said, they have lawyers, they know the rules, and they change things as time. So we generally think that things are going to be this way, and then, like you say, as time goes on,
right,
they figure a way to sneak out.
Right, look, right. They're gonna be like, anybody that makes under $250,000 caused this problem. We're gonna have to get out of here, and they're gonna change a shall to a may, and they're gonna be like, the rich people may pay taxes while the poor people shall.
They change one word.
One word, and we'll be screwed. And guess what? And and there's nobody down there looking at it. Okay, so now, Todd, because while legislators doing a victory lap for the white people victory, right? I don't know when I've seen Will Gazzardi on our side of town helping your issues, but while y'all clapping, I just want to see. Next up, we got cannabis. Hey y'all, I saw in the paper that, check this out. The medical growers are going to get the first chance to profit from the legalization of cannabis. Just let me help y'all understand this. The people who got rich locking us up are now the people who are entitled to get rich first for us not being locked up, while we'll get maybe to get people out of jail. There's your outcome for cannabis. I need to know. Then, Todd, check this out. But we're clear, because everybody's seen all these mergers. Do y'all know that right now there are billion-dollar mergers happening in Illinois right now over cannabis? Billions. Billions. Now, check this out. Let me take you one more. How many of y'all saw the movie Casino?
I saw it.
How many of y'all ever heard of the town Vegas? How many of y'all have ever seen the people lined up at the boats, sitting, smoking a cigarette, pulling the machine? They're gonna make sports betting, they're gonna open up, now we're trying to move a casino. Y'all know any black gangsters? Y'all know any black gaming experts in Illinois? Nope. What's our cut, y'all? But guess who's gonna be lined up at them casinos? Your grandma and them. They church bus gonna roll up, park in the parking lot, leave their car, and you gonna roll up and make white boys rich again. And how many black owners out at Rivers Casino? Right, exactly. I got you. Right? But I'm going to tell you, we going to get Gamblers Anonymous. They're going to be like, ooh, we gave y'all $100 million. Do y'all know that they're going to say, this is what they're going to, look, because let me tell you how they did us with the cannabis. This is how they do y'all. So they had a magic Negro conjurer load up 1,000 black people on the buses and took them to Springfield for one day to say, we demand $100 million. Why they gonna make 100 billion, we want 100 million once. Lollipops. Then you got a capital bill coming. Capital bill. They're gonna spend billions of dollars building roads, bridges, all that. The unions are going to have work forever. Meanwhile, black folks still going to be taking training programs and apprenticeship programs. Look, they lining up the apprenticeship programs right now. Oh, I got a training center. Look, I got, look, how many churches going to have a apprenticeship training program? All up, everybody who was lined up that one time when we found out that it was the most, what was it, what kind of black people was it? What did he call them? What JB say about black people? He called them Jesse White. What did he say? I'm just saying, because this is all I'm saying. Right now, you all, he wasn't crass. What did he call emo crass? He said he was the most something. I can't think of it right now.
I don't remember.
But my point is,
offensive and maybe gets you the most because it gets you that Secretary of State appointment is Jesse White.
so right now we got all these everybody is trying to be in the battle to be least offensive. Right now, so this is what I'm going to say right now. When they gavel out of Springfield on, what is that, Saturday? The 31st? What day is the 31st? When they gavel out on the 31st, they probably will have a fair tax, they'll have cannabis, they'll have sports betting and a casino, and a Capitol bill. Is this thing on? Dear Black Caucus, that's multiple billions of dollars in private generated revenue that you will make people wealthy for generations. I'm just telling y'all, respectfully, please don't come back here talking about we got some drug rehab money. Don't nobody come back here talking to me about the safety net. The safety net better be straight already.
Right.
The safety net that y'all done spent the last 50 years on the safety net. That bad boy, JB should just give y'all the safety net. What? And I swear to God, if somebody come back to me talking about a study, we're gonna study the cannabis industry we're gonna study how to keep y'all Negroes out.
Well, let me be honest with you, Pace.
Go ahead.
We are not the majority in the state, and to get certain things, you have to have a study that said that you can wave in the majority's face and say, okay, here's the numbers. This is why we need it.
Todd, do you know
Without it, they can screw you and feel like, well, you didn't show us.
Can we use the study from last year? Or the study from the year before? Or the study that they did the last time they pulled this bull? Look, y'all, we
What
gonna
I'm trying to say is, you want to give them an out by saying this isn't current.
No, I'm saying
Don't be lazy. Don't be lazy.
No, what I'm saying is stall. That's the stall tactic. What I'm saying is grab your cojones and say this is what we doing and we ain't voting until you do. It's the talk of Chicago. We'll be
good till it goes down the drain.
See, exactly. That scared money don't make no money. We'll be back after traffic news and the weather.
I guess we had to go to traffic news and weather.
Yes.
And also, I didn't have any come back for a scare money.
If they say we ain't putting 20 votes on nothing, guess what? Study that.
Hey, you got to be tough at times, but you got to be smart too. And so basically that means that anything you do,
Let me tell you what. If you want to be smart, okay, I gotta get to this one. You want to be smart?
Oh, I didn't finish my smart thought.
It's 4 days left. Be smart and be like this. Sorry, we ain't talking about none of it. Black Caucus ain't showing up to no, we're not with none of it. Now, you don't find me $50 million, you don't find me a partners before the end of this session, we ain't with nothing. Now, go get your vote. Think about this. I would have made the fair tax vote the last vote. See, if you make the fair tax vote the last vote, that's JB's biggest saver. So if you say we gonna make the fair tax vote, which is everything that JB hinges on, the last vote instead of the first vote, he can jettison any of the other stuff. He can bend you. So what you do is you say, if you want the Black Caucus 20 votes, we want a seat on every board of every major marijuana company that opens in the state of Illinois, period. We want a black, a woman, and a Latino on every board. We'll let the rest of it go. But any business that opens up here, we got to have a seat on the board. Plus, we want 5 incubator companies, blah, 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 blah. We want this many facilities. We want this. The industry has to pay for it, or some of the tax revenue has to go to that, which is then granted to whoever's been in this program, etc. Now, you create the black cartel, and you say, if it ain't no black cartel in weed, and if it ain't no black cartel in gaming, you ain't passing fair tax. No, we're not voting. So you got the chair of exec. So that's when Chris Welch says, nah, we gonna hold that. Then everybody's coming to him saying, and Chris is like, man, who's the black people that's, again, and I'm not gonna say that they're not at the table on the negotiations, because now black caucus members chair some of the most important committees that any of this stuff goes through. The challenge is not at the legislative standpoint, it is us in the game being at the table from the ground floor. But if you ain't one of the black cartels, because there isn't a black cartel, then you ain't got no lobbyists, you ain't got nobody that's negotiating on your behalf. So they don't have the people. Now, the key has to be that the black caucus has to feel the pressure from us. So you put a black lollipop on the board that he can be removed. Like, man, they gotta have a social equity plan. I'm gonna stop because I got a game plan for how to attack this. What y'all be doing it? We always gonna run the risk of a black lollipop. That term is reviewable, and let's say that it requires that you put some measurables on it. Right, Salim, I'm with you. Like, why we can't create our own cartel? Like, I'm saying, like, it shouldn't be no white people should be able to open up without a 70% black partner in protected zones and zip codes. Sorry, you can't even open up here. You got to be a minority partner. The Prophet. What's up? Shout out to my boy Othello Isaacs. Man, we got to kick it in Houston. Man, I hadn't seen that brother since he was shorter than me. Now he like a whole foot taller than me. What up, Othello? Y'all taking a moment to share the broadcast? Share the broadcast. Share the broadcast. Share the broadcast. You are tuned into the Talk of Chicago 1690 AM. I'm your host, Maze Jackson. Got my co-host, Todd Stroger. And Todd, you know what? I'm on fire, bro. I'm on fire. I'm going to tell you. And I got Black Power seems to me right now to be present but not accounted for. Black Power in Illinois is present right now but not accounted for, and I think we have got to start demanding outcomes. Todd, I'm gonna tell you, I want to support Mayor Lightfoot. Okay? Can I be honest with you? I really want to support Mayor Lori Lightfoot, and I want her to be successful in her term as mayor. But I don't want her to be successful at our expense. Does that make sense? It seems as though the challenge becomes with Mayor Lightfoot is that Chicago's desire for change may not have, our desire for change should not mean that we become loyal servants to anyone. I feel like when we elected Mayor Lightfoot, Todd, that it wasn't an election. It almost feels like another coronation, an election to a coronation, as compared to an election to public service. I think we saw it with Mayor Lightfoot on stage when she turned around and basically demanded that the aldermen clap against their own self-interest. And I know that a lot of people love that fact, but it made me thinking, and I'm going to tell you, Maisie Harris pointed out and showed me a bunch of pictures from Mayor Lightfoot's inauguration, the signing of the executive order, a whole bunch of different things. And I'll be honest with you, Todd, looking at it, it did not feel as reflective of us. And when I say us, I'm saying black people, as I don't feel the love is reciprocal. I feel like we running up to hug somebody who kind of like, hey man, you don't know me like that. We don't know her like that.
No.
And I'm okay with being upset, but I don't want us to do it to our own demise. Here's where I'm going to tell you we're doing it to our own demise. Todd, and this is no shade to Alderman Wagaspack, but I believe that the single most important position in the city of Chicago to impact police violence against black people is the city council finance chair. Now you may say, Mace, what does the finance chair, how you think that the finance chair is the single most important position to stopping police brutality and killings of black people? Todd, do you realize that over the last 10 years, the Department of Finance has paid out over $500 million in police settlements?
That's a lot of money.
$500 million in police settlements with no oversight. Think about this. So now, and it really got me thinking about Kenneth Chamberlain, who came on some months ago, when he said that when these cases don't go to court, Todd, what winds up happening is there's no law created, there's no precedence created, and then the crime is protected. So think about this. Of the $500 million in police settlements that went through the Finance Committee, through Chairman Ed Burke, Todd, none of those had court cases. None of them ever got to the bottom of the issue. None of them ever allowed a police officer to be held accountable. And then it never established laws of precedent to protect people. So when Mayor Lightfoot decides that over the opposition of almost the entire city council, she is going to play Scott Wagaspack, who again I have no ill will towards, none. A white man who probably is not sensitive to that. He probably is like, I don't want to spend $500 million. So he'll probably drop the cost of Black Death to $1 million per case. But as the city council turns over its power to Mayor Lightfoot, I just want to make sure that we all understand what's happening. Black Caucus, understand that you can be on the mayor's team, but you gotta be black first. And so when they give away finance, now I'm just saying, we got 20 people, we got the most seniority besides Alderman Ed Burke. Black folks deserve the top spot. The top spot. And it seems to me that, and I'm not gonna say, and let me say this. I think the two champions for those top spots may have rubbed enough people in the caucus wrong over time that they are not willing to do it for those people. But y'all got to do it for a bigger reason. You've got to take finance for a bigger reason. You know, when people tell you that the alderman and the city council is a rubber stamp, and when we see all of these police settlements happening, and the police walk away, and we say that it all went through the finance committee, it seems to me that right now, we have a legitimate claim to the top spot. But Todd, why does it seem like the caucus, the city council is deferring to Mayor Lightfoot? Now, I'm going to tell you this, and it was crazy to me, but you all saw me on, if you happen to catch Fox 32 this weekend, I was on Flannery Fired Up with Alderman Brian Hopkins. Now, y'all know I give Alderman Brian Hopkins the business because he's got Lincoln Yards. He's also the person that said he don't want them kids running around. He locked y'all out of Water Tower Place. But can I tell you what he told me on Thursday when I was taping? He was like, I don't understand why the Black Caucus doesn't elect the finance chair. They were like, we're with, he was like, there's white colleagues that would be with you. Like, white folks ain't even with, and this is not to diss Scott, but white folks, here you have a person that is unpopular with everybody.
Well, Anthony Beale, Anthony Beale actually said that. I read that in the paper. Anthony Beale said basically that he wasn't trying to diss her selection, but he is not very popular among the colleagues.
I think the challenge becomes the messenger. So black folks are so caught up in personality, and I'm going to say this. Alderman Bill and I have had some serious conversations, but I'll be honest with you, over time, Alderman Bill has not always endeared himself to his colleagues. And so it's kind of like when somebody who ain't always been the coolest with you, who may have dissed you, may have called you out your name or said you ain't nothing, then says, but we got to stick together. It's kind of like, yeah, Negro, we ain't sticking together with you, but it's not him. It's us. Yo, the finance committee is up tomorrow. They keep calling about a city council showdown, and everybody wants it to be a fight, but why does it have to be a showdown? Why can't black folks just take what belongs to us?
Right. And you know that historically, committeeships aren't done in the city council, at least based on seniority.
Right. So, y'all, let's talk about it all when we come back to Talk Chicago 69. So while y'all are hammering, what you are doing is beating us into submission. So nobody wants to, we don't think that a black person should be the finance committee chair? Really? Like, really? Because y'all so busy saying these do nothing aldermen. So do you really think you're going to get more out of Alderman Wagensback, can I tell you what? He ain't gonna be concerned with no police brutality. He gonna be concerned with fiscal responsibility. Todd, you got the cameras.
Yeah, no, I've been saying this all along. Why aren't the, well, you know what happens though, of course. So someone like Pat Dow, who is supposed to be the budget person, is an ally of the mayor. When I say an ally, I believe she supported the mayor from the get-go.
You think so? Did she cut out Tony? That was her. Ooh, if you did that, you telling some real dirt.
No, I thought that was something that I'm not sure. I thought that.
Oh, look, y'all. Todd just talked. Ooh, it's been some double crossing going on.
But hey, that wouldn't be dirt. I don't think every black alderman was.
Yeah,
with
but Tony, Pat was one of the ringleaders to try and take out Kerry for Tony. Yeah. Oh yeah, shiesty. I forget nothing.
Yeah, but.
All right, let me see.
For this.
Todd wants to go. Todd Stern, would you like to go to the Chicago Symphony?
Symphony.
Well,
Symphony.
I can't say this stuff. Yes, with Carmen in it. Carmen's
What
going
is
to be
it?
performing. Oh, I sent it to you. I don't know.
Oh. I would like to go. Can I bring somebody with me?
Yes. So
Yeah,
I'll
just
do
Can I take a plus one?
I'm gonna do 4.
I can do
Me,
4?
You and your wife. No, meaning just you 2 plus 1.
Well, just speak English well. I'm trying to get in trouble here.
Yeah, I see. You know, so I'm gonna do you 2.
I get you, thank you. But it's time to retreat. You gotta be careful.
You better be careful. Don't be crossing your producer.
Nope. Yeah, but the hard part would be getting somebody like, though, Pat Dow, who's gonna be the budget person, to go with the group against the wishes of the mayor, which would put her budget chairmanship in jeopardy.
Right, but it's
'Cause
self.
you know, there's nothing wrong with having 2 white people in charge of 2 big things, but having 2 black people in charge of something, that's in trouble.
But what they did was go to Pat and say, Pat, you take it to have the niggas fighting. Instead of they didn't pit the white people against each other.
No, that's because black people aren't gonna.
Sorry, Mr. President. I need you to help him.
To you, girl, you sent me all your loving. Just by ask of you, anywhere, even there. And there, that's all I ask of you.